All right, I want to go over the PU monthly report, and then I want to talk about a few of the items here. Ooh, that is loud. Hold on. Lower that down a little bit here. There we go. All right. Let's take a look. Okay. So, AI content. The AI content team continued to test updates to some of the landing zone NPCs, looping in the QA team to help stress test the setup to ensure it can take strain of extensive use and trigger any potential issues. Didn't they downsize their QA team just last year? A little bit? To make stations and cities feel more alive, the team leveraged the med station behavior used during the regen crisis. Now, shopkeepers will interact more with the people frequenting their store. The team is also looking at an underutilized aspect of landing zone archetypes and are preparing a proposal to make better use of guards. Alright, so let's break this down here. Team leverage a med station behavior used during the regen crisis. Med station behavior. Okay, so I'm guessing it's those people that are complaining about the regen crisis. So now that we're like entering like the ending of the regen crisis, they're not really using those NPCs can go somewhere else. Okay. Shopkeepers will interact with more with people frequenting the stores. Now, is that with other AI, or is it like, hey, we noticed you came back here before. How about a discount, or should I recommend the usual? Actually, that'd be kind of cool. Actually, you know what? That'll be actually making things a lot easier. Like, if you're building loadouts or something, you can maybe set, hopefully, maybe some favorite items you buy from the stores. That'd be kind of nice, because then I don't have to keep searching for the same stuff over and over again. Team is also looking at an underutilized aspect of landing zone archetypes and are preparing to propose to make use of guards. Alright, so yeah, so I think guards, for the most part, are pretty useless. And they can go somewhere else, to be honest. Until, like, they're a little bit more responsive and they actually respond to, wrongdoing. What do you call it? The Armistice stones are just going to stay put. Now, if guards can sometimes, give you quests or something, that'll be nice. In addition to the ongoing task of setting up comm calls characters for missions, the devs also started looking at mission providers in general and built a new behavior to support face-to-face interactions in the future. Mission givers, I guess? The devs also started looking at mission providers in general and built. Started looking. I feel like I've been like seeing started looking a little bit too often. Like, yeah. But that'd be kind of nice though if like there's like these like dailies and weeklies that some of these. Actually, that'd be kind of cool. Actually. So it'd be kind of, I would say, make it a little bit dynamic. So like, hey, a player just came in and just destroyed our freaking dropship zones and comm towers. Here's a mission to fix them back. All right, AI features. AI features updated numerous features last month, beginning with the AI weapon component. Why is this all one word here? All right. Which will now remain in sync with weapon statuses, allowing them to work better in unison. Wait, AI features numerous features last month, including the AI weapon component, which will now remain in sync with weapon statuses, allowing them to. Support was added for NPCs to systematically target vehicles in combat. Improvements were made to the Rocketeer behavior, allowing NPCs to switch between using rocket launchers and pistols depending on the situation. Adjustments to the visuals of various behaviors were made, improving cover usage and fixing multiple asserts. Well, they do take cover. When the server works, they're actually not bad at taking cover. Let me see. Improvements were made to Rocketeer behavior. So I haven't encountered. I guess this is something coming because I haven't seen any NPCs use like the the missile launcher or any sort of like dummy fired rocket. Actually, that'd be kind of nice. Like a dummy fired rocket launcher would be cool, like an RPG. That would scare a lot of people, actually. Like, you don't hear the lock on, but you just hear this rocket just like careening into you. Alright. Default weapons were then introduced to the Buddy AI. Not weapons. Default behaviors were then introduced to the Buddy AI, allowing NPCs to follow their leader, stay in close proximity during combat. TPS covers a long path where finalized based on feedback, while ammo looting updates are underway as too. This will affect holstering and stowing primary weapons to prevent NPCs from switching to their pistol when looting if they still have their primary weapon ammo. Okay, so I do like this one right here. NPCs to follow their leader and stay in close proximity during combat. That'd be kind of nice to start seeing like squads of like 5 to 7. So you'll have the squad leader, who basically will act as like the foundation of how the squad will behave, and then they'll fan out from there. Default behavior. Okay, so formerly mentioned in previous monthly reports as an upcoming creature, the new Yormandi now uses different fire modes in its attacks. Issues with perception, giving false positives, were also fixed. Further improvements were currently underway for this existing creatures. Yormandi. So Yormandi, I wonder if that's taken from, let's see, Yormagander or something? It kind of reminds me of this. Jormungandr, I believe. Is that how you sit? Yeah, Jormungandr. So I feel like it's taking from this serpent right here. So if it's a serpentine monster like this, I can probably make a bet it's going to be like that. Jormungandr. Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be something serpentine. So they can utilize like already existing animations and maybe even like movements from the worms. Yeah, because they both slither. Maybe. We'll see. Let's see. In addition, new functionality was added for testing first reactions by generating test cell level variants, making rapid iterations and testing easier for each situation. This includes testing for first reaction animation flows. Okay, that flew over my head. What? In addition, new functionality was added for testing first reactions by generating test cell level variants, making rapid iteration and testing easier for each situation. This includes testing for first reaction. Oh, okay. So basically, improving like the initiation of an engagement, pretty much. All right, roll for initiative. AI tech. This is probably something we can probably just skim through. September saw AI tech improve NPCs using elevators by simplifying the setup of transit carriage, focusing currently on 3D navigation and NPCs flying ships. Okay. Let's hope they're not, like, NPCs are not going into elevators up and right. Like, even though it looks like, I mean, so far elevators have not been breaking these last couple patches. Not the freight elevators, I meant like the elevators, just transiting. But I'd rather not put more stress on it. Now, if they're trying to go through, like, navigating through a flying ship with an elevator, then that makes sense. That's fine. The team continued to improve the flight path finder system and 3D collision avoidance using newer voxel grid approach for custom environments. Voxel grid approach. Let's look that up, shall we? Voxel grid. Value 3-dimension regular. Ah, okay. A voxel grid geometry is a 3D grid of values organized into layers of rows and columns for each row and column, and layer intersection in the grid is called a voxel, or small 3D cube. Voxel grids can be thought of as a raster with multiple spatiality stacked bands, the same row and column dimensions as a regular space point cloud, where each point is a voxel. Voxel grids may represent spatially stacked images. Okay, so basically, let me see here. Let's see. 3D collision voids using the newer voxel grid approach for custom environments. All right, so basically, if there's an environment within in that little cube, and they say like, oh wait, we detect that there is a wall or side of an asteroid jutting out, in this cube. We're going to try and avoid it. All right, sounds good. Focus is to unify the process flow with one use for ground request and preemptive adaptation for other Pathfinder structure. Okay, so basically it's going to try and build a path based off of the 3D grid. Okay, I mean, pretty straightforward. Let's see, generated spatial voxel grid is present. Yeah, so basically NPCs, if I remember correctly from their previous demonstration with demonstrating this sort of thing, they were using what, triangles or hexagons navigating like just a walking path. But I guess this is for more along the lines if they're in space, when they're like EVAing space in the future, because that adds another degree of movement. Instead of like left, right, front, back, they now have to go up, down, and everything. So all right, cool, I guess. So I guess if they were a little bit more preemptive about setting this up, I would say an AI would need to determine basically multiple varying paths. So there'll be a primary, secondary, and tertiary. So if their primary path that they chose just became blocked off because we walked in front of it, they'll try to realign on a secondary path, or make a decision if we are hostile. Maybe they'll just ram us. Hope not. All right, let me see here. This also includes the introduction of distinct parallel jobs with search and refinement and how the flight path is constructed. Okay, so it has to do with flying. All right. Development was done on AI perception code, with the team fixing issues with knowledge escalation when seeing enemies between the primary and secondary fields of view. All right. Knowledge escalation. You know, when I think of knowledge escalation when seeing enemies between primary and secondary views, it kind of reminds me of the Arkham games. So, like, enemies will have different states of awareness. So they'll have unaware, so they'll just go along their way. Not nervous, what was it called? Wary, so they're like, I think I hear something. And then, depending on the NPC, if it goes to, okay, worried, then they'll start pathing and searching, and so on and so forth. Alright, direct perception was also introduced, which simulates knowledge at distance. For example, when NPCs communicate via comms. This enables some systemic reactions to NPCs being killed while talking, even without direct line of sight. Okay, so basically, check in. Basically, Arnold's down, we better go help him. Alright, improvements were then made to the way assignments were queued in relation to usable builder tool. Crashes during general use were also fixed, such as when changing alignment slots and expanding the line pop-up edit for geom and helper geom editing. Wait, what? Improvements were then made to assignments for queuing in relation to user builder tool. Crashes during general use were also fixed, such as, I think this might be an internal tool that they were like using. I don't know, like, what's the point of putting this out here? Because if it's just about a tool, unless they're using these monthly reports to give to investors or potential new hires or something. Actually, that'd be kind of interesting. I wonder if like this also is something that like, hey, they give to company employees like, hey guys, here's a here is our monthly report before we give it out to the masses. All right. Updates were also made to the AI sequence system, which manages AI agent scripting in the flow graph. This enforces the validation of action sequences and ensures the correct execution context is set in the systemic activities, providing a more reliable way to manually script agents to guarantee actions are validated and executed correctly. Okay, so basically, it's basically just like a flow chart of if I see something go A, B, or C, and then if I don't see something, we'll just go with D, kind of like that. All right, updates. The critical flow mode of AI agents was brushed up too. While in this mode, action execution errors are still reported, but now can be handled with specific fallback, allowing the flow to proceed instead of failing and potentially stalling. Still in progress, will be further enhanced going forward. You know, I am actually starting to see some interesting behaviors from NPCs in the ASD facilities. Like, they are actually starting to be a little scary. Alright, StarScript improvements are still being made as team improves the tool following feedback from the devs. Finally, subject. Alright, so new tool, StarScript, move on. Game Intelligence Development Team. In September, the Game Intelligence Development Team focused on completing the next milestone for Mission System 2.0. They're currently breaking down the work and discussing the best possible path to approach the implementation. They also continue to fix bugs and performance issues and worked on features suggested by the designers to improve StarScript. Okay. Let's see, let's complete the next milestone for mission. Is currently breaking down the work and discussing best well. Mission System 2.0. So I guess in conjunction with the AI content that they mentioned up here, shopkeepers and all that, I'm guessing this has to do with mission givers, or like dynamic, or the way that missions are generated when we go into certain things, or things need to be done. Who knows? I may need to look back on that one. All right, let's continue. Animation. The animation team continued to work on an upcoming creature and boss fight alongside supporting new mission givers. Okay. Finally a boss fight. So... You know, I was really thinking, when I went to this project, I keep thinking Star Citizen was going to be that sandbox MMORPG. Although like I have played other sandboxy MMOs, there are world bosses that will spawn and people go through, but for the most part, the world, like a sandbox, is mostly developed by players. So, yeah, I don't mind like in-lore bosses that show up, but I hope it's not going to be reliant on that. Facial animations progressed through new performances that were captured in late August. These include characters that will be present in multiple upcoming releases, including a returning air traffic control voice. The animation narrative and mocap teams are also planned for their next shoot, which will be held at the beginning of October. Okay. I have heard from multiple people that this may be inferring the return of Nyx, because apparently there was like a very specific Levski, like ATC traffic control guy. So, okay. Art. Characters. Character art team finds on new armors and a new gang. Work also include on policy in the Romandi. Concept art team continue in area on new armors. I don't mind new armors, but I do mind is that like right now there's nothing special about the armors aside from, you know, they look. You know? Moving on. Art. Alright, ships. Alright. I've heard fun things this time. Alright, in the UK, we're continuing to bring the RSI Aurora and Aegis Hammerhead up to modern standard. Is that the new term for gold standard, or is it just like we just need to update it like badly? I mean, get it. RSI Aurora and Aegis Hammerhead really do need updates. Or progress to LOD 0. Oh, level of detail 0. In final stages, as improvements were made to the component base, bed access, dashboard placement, and entrance method. VTOL setup and cargo access on the underside. Okay, yeah, cargo access on the Aurora just felt very shoot in. I have no idea where they're gonna put the components. I assume they're no, the bed makes up the entire backside. So I have this massive feeling. I feel like the Aurora's actual mesh in 3D shape had to be changed for this. We may actually see like the Aurora just be the next go-to, and may actually. I really do hope it does be the go-to or like a good competitor to the Aegis Vanguard. Not Vanguard. Avenger. There we go. The Avenger Titan and all that. Alright. For the Hammerhead, focus on implementing the improvements made to the base corridor system, corridor kit from the recent Aegis release, alongside making sure the component bays and relays are suitable places and accessible. Alright. So this just looks like an art asset flip. Yeah, component bays in the back definitely can use some updates. Honestly, just get rid of those particle effects in the back. It makes no sense. Like, that's like cancer-inducing. The relays are suitable places. Like, okay, yeah, whatever. On that one. Alright. Honestly, I wish the Hammerhead didn't have that weird center thing. Like, you could probably fill that in with a medical bay or something. Or beds. Bunks. Alright, the Paladin progressed through level detail 0 phase, with final adjustments being made to the main quad turret to ensure its movements is unhindered in both flight and landed states. The downstream teams kicked off their work on the ship too. Alright. Yeah, Paladin is definitely probably going to be coming out. Citizen Con. There's just way too many hints on this one. Alright. Miss Hull B. Okay, I'm actually interested in this one. The Miss Hull B is now well into the white box phase. The majority of the interior was implemented to the required level. Well, adjustments are currently being made to the exterior mesh to meet the gate requirements. Majority of the interior was implemented to its required levels, while adjustments are being made. Okay. More than likely, they're taking on a lot of the new like designs that they've been using in the Fortune, the Mirai Guardians, and the the Star Lancer. Because, and I really hope after they finish the whole B, they do some updates to the Prospector and the Hull A, because both of those could use a bit of a facelift and modernization as well. So I am looking forward to Hull B though. The Hull B is like, it's going to probably be maybe one of the bigger, medium, large hull dedicated, like not hull, yeah, cargo hauling dedicated ship that can land. Aside from the Raft. Well, you know what? No, I suspect it's gonna be better than a Raft. All right. Following last month's work, the Drake Ironclad and Ironclad Assault, plus the updated command module, are approaching their combined white box gate review. All right, it looks like the white box of this is pretty much finishing up. So we're probably going to see the Ironclad not this year. I suspect potentially by IAE this coming year. Maybe. I wouldn't put it past them. It could be sooner, maybe March. But I want to say IAE because it was actually unveiled during DefenseCon. So it would make sense. Following last month's work, the Drake, 4 unannounced vehicles also included development throughout September versus purchasing the LOD 0. All right, that's probably going to be the starter ship That's one of these is probably gonna be a starter ship. Um, Probably gonna be for um in oh no, sorry, I take it back. Ironclad will be coming out Invictus this coming year. I got it wrong. So IAE we'll probably see this one, while the second progressed through Leldy Gate and now its final stage. All right, so if we have the Perseus coming up in IAE, so that'll fill in the large slot. This is probably the starter ship. So maybe the RSI Salvager Scarab, and probably a medium ship. I wonder what. Oh, maybe a vehicle. Oh yeah, you know what? Hold on. The RSI Scarab, like that, like a Salvager, could either be the, what do you call them, LTI token for this year, or it could be a starter. Either way. All right, moving on. The third, a variant of popular recent release ship, is receiving a gray box LD0 work in tandem due to the nature of the changes. The fourth passed its gray box review early in September, LD0 work early October. Some of the downstream teams began their okay. Variant popular recent is receiving gray box in tandem to the nature of the changes. The fourth passes. Oh, wait, the third one, gray box in tandem due to the nature of the work. This looks like Drake. LD0. Let's see. Most popular recent release. Popular recent release. Hold on. Star Citizen Tool. Wiki. Hold on. Let's look this up real quick. Let's see here. Concept date. No. Average purchase length, min crew, SEC. All right. We had the Meteor. MTC. Okay, I don't think these two were popular. Guardian MX. Guardian. It was cool. I don't know if it was super popular. Asgard. Alright, if we're gonna get another Valkyrie variant, because we're gonna have the Paladin. Okay, it's definitely not an Asgard variant. Gollum. Ooh, a Gollum variant. I mean, what would you do with how would you make a variant of the Gollum? Just put a giant railgun on top of it. Atlas Chief, no. Wolf? I can see the Wolf getting a variant. I would actually love to see a Wolf variant with laser. I can't see this being a missile boat without compromising some of its sleek design. I don't think that's what Kruger would do. No. 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 Okay. If I had to put money on this, I'm putting my money on either. No, we have the Starlancer build coming. Am I missing one? All right. All right. I'm gonna put. I don't know. Guardian was like a hit or miss for a lot of people. I don't see that being the popular one. But if I'm gonna have to say, it's either gonna be a variant of the Wolf. You know, maybe variant of the Asgard. I mean, it did get top 4. No, because the Asgard's already a variant. So I don't think so. Alright, I'm gonna have to say it's either going to be the Guardian, Wolf, and let's put a third one in here. Starlancer came out last year, right? Yeah, Starlancer was last year. Let me see. TAC came out when? Flight Ready. When did this come out? It came out May. Alright, came out May of this year. Maybe Starlancer? Alright, let me see if there's another one on this list that I'm missing here. Saber Peregrine. No. Arastra Wind, please. Thank you. Alright. I'm not gonna dwell on this any further. It's either gonna be it's either gonna be Guardian, Starlancer, or the Wolf. That is my top 3 picks here. Alright. But enough of that. The North American teams began the month finalizing fixes for the RSI Apollo ships ahead of their release. Oh wait, Apollo! That's also very popular. But I don't see that being a thing really. Alright. North American teams began their month finalizing fixes for the RSI Apollo ships ahead of their release. Various optimizations were also made following players' use of the PTUI. LOD0 for the Perseus was also passed early on in the month, with the team moving into the final touch and downstream teams beginning to close out the ship. Alright, yeah, Perseus is definitely going to be in time for IE. It's definitely coming in November. The white box phase officially kicked off for the Drake Kraken in the latter half of the month. Last month's pre-production phase led to numerous improvements and adjustments to navigation flow and interactions throughout the ship. Fan-frickin-tastic. Alright, Drake Kraken. I am very, 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 very excited for this one. One, I own it, so a little bit of bias there. I gave up like 6 ships for it, so I didn't have to put too much of my own money into it. Well, extra money into it. So, cannot wait. Last month promotion. If I had to make a prediction on when the Kraken's going to be coming out, 2027. I do not see the Kraken coming out by the end of this coming year. As much as I want that to be a thing. Now, to be fair though, they have been moving pretty fast, but they have the Pioneer that they're working on right now. But the thing is, though, Pioneer, they can, based off of how they've been doing their work lately, I have a feeling that the Pioneer won't fully release until the team finishes crafting. So, and base building. By then, I feel like the Pioneer will just be stalled. But Kraken can keep going, but I do hope that the aforementioned mention of carrier gameplay of like refueling, rearming is done before the Kraken comes out. Also, a medbay, please. Thank you. Alright, moving on. 2 unannounced ships, vehicles passed Progress 2, 1 moved through gray boxes, 2nd entered white box. Unannounced vehicles. So not Ranger, not the G12. That's a pity. Honestly, until base building and I don't know, roads, the best vehicles they can make right now is probably like a flatbed, to be honest, to move stuff around. That's all I can think of. All right. Oh, I know what they can't. Oh, actually, no. We still have that. There's that potential medical atlas. Maybe that might be it. All right. Community. All right. We have the ship showdown. Polaris claimed the crown. Oh, of course, yeah, I remember that. I am happy though. I voted Gladiator as long as I could. Gladiator needed the love, needed skin, love the Gladiator. Cannot wait to add that back into the fleet. All right. Aside from the Saber, the F8, and the Wolf, those have been my favorite fighters. All right. Ship Showdown, Race for Stanton, Hurston Dynamics, yay, whatever. Pirate Week, yay. You know what? To be honest, I forgot to do the Pirate Week code. All right. Catch all Onyx, World Tour. Okay, cool. Yada yada yada. Oh, hey guys, what up? I love how like everybody's like super casual, and then there's just this one guy in a suit, just like standing there, just like, It's like everybody's just like, just chill, and he's just like standing there proper in a suit and everything. I don't know what was he trying. What was he trying to do? Like go in for an interview for a job? But all the same, be class, stay classy, man. Oh, wait, you know what? It is kind of important. There are some very important figures in this photo. So, okay, all right. You know what? Wearing a suit might get you in. We'll see. First impressions there, buddy. All right, CitizenCon Direct teams work on this game. On CitizenCon Direct watch parties with Keep. Okay. All right, I actually will be at the watch party down in DC. So, you guys might see me there. All right, core gameplay. Here we go. Oh, this is actually tiny this time. All right. Is there anyone to zoom in? All right. We won't zoom in then. All right. As part of the ongoing medical gameplay improvements, the team provides support for bespoke take and place animation or rework the implementation of players clearing the respawn points in vehicles. Alongside. Okay. Okay. Here is my quick like feedback of the current medical gameplay. It's just a very placeholdery loop. It's not even a loop really, it's just an alternate place to spawn. Honestly, I really do hope that we can craft our own med gel going in the future. And then also, like, they also showed off those like recharge stations for Medgel too. What the heck is that? Is that also like a crafting apparatus we can use in the future? Because that'd be cool. You know, just like put in your ingredients and let it just craft for 3 minutes. All right. Tiered medical bed spawn ranges were implemented. Oh yeah. I'm not a big fan of consuming those medical containers. I really wish the containers will pop out. You can take it. Because, you can actually grab the vials, that are partially full for your med gun. That's actually really cool. Alright. Tiered medical bed spawn ranges were implemented for robust compatible server meshing controls exposed to designers that allow them to control healing costs per medical bed tier, while additional data was exposed to UI designers to add new information in medical screens. New controls were exposed to designers that allowed them to control healing costs per med. For the designers of the game systems, or allow us to change the cost per medical bed team? Maybe. Alright. For engineering, the team continued iterating on playtest feedback and hardening the features ahead of wider scale testing. Alright, so engineering, iterating on playtest feedback. Is this the feedback from last year? And hardening the features ahead. Was it last year? No, it was early this year. It was very early this year. Playtest feedback, hardening on the features ahead of wider scale testing. Wider scale testing. There's not enough information for me to make a best guess when that's coming out. All right, vehicle command module feature continued through pre-production phase, with the devs completing the prototype and technical design. Additional debug tooling revealed. Various issues with the underlying docking system, prompting effort to fix crucial flow. Okay. All right, so that's going to be in tandem with the Ironclad. So again, I have a feeling probably by May. Yeah, they need to get this testing done like during the winter. So, and then into early spring. So I'm gonna say this will probably be done by May. Flight gameplay also progressed through September. AI can now correctly utilize control surfaces in atmosphere here to their velocity goals. Initiators are no longer required to be attached to a dashboard to be functional, allowing for more flexibility in cockpit design. The team also prepared for focus testing on an improved flight model. All right, well, show me what it is, because I am not liking the current flight model. All right. So here's my last and final overall feedback for Master Modes. I do like the fact that it sort of helps unify and make it very easy for other forms of controlling your ship. So, what do you call it? Input types like controller, keyboard and mouse, sticks, and all that. I'd say did that pretty okay. However, whoever's idea was to switch between SCM and nav mode, no. That can actually, okay, you can keep that in. And here's the thing, a lot of people will think like, oh, that's like, this is the final form because that's what they're going to go with in Squadron 42. That's actually technically incorrect, because there are single player versions of games, like take Final Fantasy 14 for instance, because 14 uses a lot of the same sort of mechanics of Final Fantasy, I believe, 12, that combat system, but they're not exactly the same. So you can have two different flight models to fit your goal. Okay, so I'd say for MMOs, you kind of want a little bit more degree of freedom, whereas single player, if it's like a linear game, you may want a more sort of depending on what kind of experience you're going for, you may want Master Modes can work there. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. All right, keep going. The ongoing inventory rework progressed with implementation of equipment and equip item slots for the function added to the paper doll UI and search bar. Thank you. The team also exposed controls to help define the rules of proximity looting. As someone who's taken user experience and UI beginning courses in university, the UI in this game makes me cringe. All right, economy. Here we go. The economy team began the month exploring how to make the player's impact on freelance commodities trading most impactful and longer lasting in the process. The team also validated on Andromeda. Okay, we can stay with this current economy for now, but as soon as crafting and player-owned refineries start to kick into gear, let the players run the market. Make a marketplace. Okay? I'm tired of this weird thing. And also, when I'm mining, I feel super bad when I'm leaving behind stuff. Because I'm like, I really wish I could use the aluminum, the ice I'm getting. I don't know, maybe just bring the ice in for personal use, for, I don't know, shaved ice or margaritas or something. All right. Team also evaluated the data on the drop rates of some rare items and made them more prevalent. That is fair. I have been seeing some really interesting stuff in loot boxes and I'm loving it. Cargo manifests found in spawn ships are also redesigned so their values don't undermine the intended gameplay for certain missions. To be honest, I feel like they're a little bit too consistent, close to each other. I feel like they need to add a little bit more variance just to have that surprise factor. And every like 1 out of 10 might hit like a like god roll loot pinata of a C2. That's my personal opinion. All right, of like gold and stuff. Quantanium. All right, mission design. Mission design began September finalizing the last narrative mission for the ASD facilities before it for the rest of the year's content. Okay, so that means more than likely the last ASD. I really hope the last ASD mission is in tandem with Halloween. That would be perfect. All right. Because I do know we're going to be going back to the Pyro storyline of things. This next patch, which actually I completely forgot that was supposed to be like the A story. This ASD stuff was the B story of all things. Can you believe that? All right. Alongside this, the team reviewed bounty missions, added comms notifications for their mission providers. This is part of the ongoing initiative to bring older missions up to standard. All right. We're still missing a lot of missions. Alright, mission design also worked alongside June to solve long-standing issues with spawn clauses and made more fixes to mission generation systems. Spawn clauses broke for a little bit in the recent patch where they just wouldn't stop spawning dudes. The bunkers also had issues too. So if you do like the single wave bunker missions, yeah, that'll work. But if you're doing multi-wave bunker missions, okay, I've heard but not seen like the wave missions work. People said they did. Every time I go down there, they never did. User experience may vary. All right, let's see what we got here. All right. Narrative. In September, the narrative team focused on tasks to help close out the rest of the year strongly. This focus crafting scripts that will add additional dynamic conversations to new Covalax mission representative, vendors, and customers to the game. And spend time turning missions, text, and lore discoverable for several upcoming events. You know what would be kind of cool? Is have a traveling Banu. Oh wait, no, they would need a Banu merchantman for that. Never mind. They'll just like spontaneously just spawn on like a random time at Daymar, or like, hey guys, I found the Banu merchantman NPC like super merchant with like really rare gear. He's over at this location. Actually, that would be the funniest. That would be actually a really cool idea for an interdiction event. Like you get interdicted, and you notice that like a Banu merchantman or like a merchant ship getting like attacked, and you save it, and then like, hey, before I leave, you want to check out my wares? That'd be actually a really cool mission when they add like ship stores. I would love that actually. Alright, moving on. Online technology. Last month, the Live Tools team updated the error reporting pipeline, moving panic migration from Heap to Laravel. What? Panic migration from Heap to Laravel. What does this mean? Heap to Laravel. Including the Panic web app tool can now. Okay, it's a web. Okay, it's a tool. Okay, I was like, okay, they're that went over my head. Can now configure stream settings, removing dev time by allowing users to define the configuration for each stream themselves. Symbolizer was also rewritten to be event-driven, making it more stable and scalable. All right. Progress made on new web app configuring Bootstrap settings, which will provide a more accessible display for its users. For Hex, there should be an audit logging UI, online servicing continue to work with item recovery and blueprints. Item recovery in the blueprint service. I wonder. Blueprints as in crafting blueprints? Converting because here's the thing. I really hate the fact that we can. I really wish. Well, not hate the fact, but like, it is true. Like, this item recovery thing is very silly. Honestly, I really hope they just get rid of item recovery in general and just move to blueprints. Like, oh, you'll get a sample when you first buy it. Let's say that I bought. Let's go to a shop here. Let's go. Let's see. So let's say I am buying. All right. Let's say I buy the medical career kit heavy. All right. And what it'll do is it'll add the initial sample for us to use in game. Great. But then but that also includes a blueprint that is fully unlocked. So what we need to do is find another Morozov set piece and basically a little bit of extra items. I don't know, blood of this. What do you call those space cows? Blood of the Grazer and like, and then find and then buy like a paint stack from not cousin Crows. What's that other place called? You know what I mean. Just like put it together and remake it. Honestly, I feel like that'd be a better idea because that'll take away a little bit of the pay to win aspect. So we would just need to grab another Morozov thing and then just reskin it from there. I feel like that would be a good idea. Alright, so that's the blueprint stuff. Where are we at here? Alright, we're at the end. R&D. The entire R&D team's focus remain exclusively on analyzing performance and optimizing engine and game code. What? Okay, cool. So, basically, more optimization. I feel like that's like the default copy and paste. VFX, here we go. Alpha 4.3.2 VFX finished their tasks for the ASD locations and final event work, while the RSI Apollo Triage and Medevac received their VFX passes. Production continued to the Yorimondi and related locations too. Yeah. Now, as I said, Yorimondi, to those who are just jumping in, Yorimondi reminds me of Jormungandr in terms of how you pronounce that name. I would not be surprised if it's a serpentine like creature that we find in a cave of. Actually, you think this will be in? No, I don't think this will be in Microtech because that was a failed terraforming experiment. I have a feeling Yormondis were going to be located in Pyro. I think my personal guess would be Pyro. Either Pyro 4 or Pyro. I don't know if it would be in Pyro 2. Would it be in Pyro 2? I think that's Bloom, right? That's Bloom, I think. I don't know if it'll be in Pyro 2. Alright. Well, that is the monthly report. So overall, take anything I say as just speculation or just really educated guesses. The AI features pretty decent, okay. The Rocketeer behavior is going to be quite interesting because that would actually force us to, step back and really figure out how we want to plan our entry. Let's see, default behaviors. I am looking forward to this right here. The buddy AI NPCs following their leaders to stay in close proximity during combat. I want to see more of this. So basically it'd be kind of cool if you can identify the leader unit within like a squad of four to 7, their coordination will fall apart. And that gives you an advantage. But taking down the leader might be a little bit more difficult because they could be in heavier armor. or they have like maybe a riot shield or something. That'd be kind of cool. Um, yeah. And then like if the leader gets on comms and calls other people, you'll be in trouble. And actually, that'd be a cool way to sort of dynamically control spawn closets because let's say that the leader calls for backup, they trigger the spawn closet to spawn more units 20 seconds later. So you have more incentive to hit their leader. So yeah. TPS cover along path. Overall, so far, it is very basic. It's not like, it's definitely not division. Like, yeah, it's definitely not division levels of sophistication, but overall, I am seeing little by little improvements of NPCs taking cover. I think honestly, it's just up to basically their delayed reaction and their, I want to call it stupidity, can be chalked up to some of their like decision making is stalled either by the server or stalled by like a if and then and when statements in their coding. They're like, okay, if I pop up, A, I shoot, or B, I don't and take back to cover if I don't see them, or 3, yeah, I don't know. Some of that is basically just the server trying to feed it information to better calculate that stuff because that is like taking up information bandwidth that needs to pass along to the processor. All right, I did it. Okay, keep going. Let me see what else. All right, of course, the art stuff like characters and ships were of course are the main highlights here. New, I guess it said new armors are whatever until they start making them functional with their soft classes. So, but keep making them cool. Yeah. Aegis Hammerhead. I have my issues with the Aegis Hammerhead. Actually, let me just show you real quick while I'm here. Hammerhead. Here we go. I like the Hammerhead in general. The one thing I don't like is this gaping hole right here. I feel like, what is the point of this? What, just have that epic moment when a missile just flies right through? Like, I don't see it fulfilling any function. Honestly, just fill that in and throw in like either bunk beds or a medical facility, something. Like, this is just a waste right here. So I do hope they fill that in. We also talked about the voxel grid as well, so yeah. Paladin, Hulby, Ironclads, again, probably gonna be next year during Invictus. Let me see here. Am I missing anything else, guys? Yeah, I think I'm good. Alright then. Well,